Hello there and a very warm welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I'm Victor Matthias. Now, the controversy that has trailed the Supreme Court judgment on the new Naira note seems not to be abating as the general election draws near. Now, many have given divergent views as to the measures those involved have taken. While some state governors have asked residents to go on with the old Naira notes based on the court order, others are gradually adapting to life and struggling with the reality they face. Today on the program, we will take a look at how the directive has affected, be it positively or negatively, the life of Nigerians. And we will also take a look at the arrival of Elon Musk's SpaceX in Nigeria and how Nigerians are acquiring the service in the midst of dollar and naira scarcity. But let's first see what made the trends in the past week.
This week's top videos begins with a plea by the Council of State asking President Muhammadu Buhari to either print more new Naira notes or allow co-circulation of the old and the new. It's followed in fourth by the launch of the Broom Revolution by the presidential candidate of the APC in Kwara State.
You don't vote for anybody else. You vote for me.
Jagaban!
Third spot to the entertaining performance of Senator Dina Melaye during a PDP rally in Delta. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party campaigning in Kanu, where he urges youth to reject parties that have kept them impoverished, comes in second.
We will ensure the enemy, the criminals are not stronger than government. We will have one government and they will not have space in it. We will secure Nigerians. We will unite Nigeria.
While the extension of the deadline for the collection of the new Naira notes by the CBN tops the chart as the most viewed video in the past week.
In compliance with Section 20, subsection 3 and Section 22 of the CBN Act, allowing Nigerians to deposit their old notes at the CBN after the February deadline, when the old currency would have lost its legal tender status.
Well, there you go. Those were the top 5 videos instead of the trends. But sometimes, you know, the last could just be the first and vice versa. But joining us now to look at today's topic, we have with us right here in the studio, Ayobami Ladipo. He is the editor-in-chief of Porsche Media, Porsche Classy Media. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We also have joining us via Zoom, Olubumi Ayontunji. He is a legislative draftsman. He joins us via Zoom from Canada. Well, we'll get to him later on in the bit, but just kicks out the conversation for us. So much has been going on in the country.
Okay.
I mean, just today we heard about the riots in Shagamu. What exactly is the bone of contention?
Okay, I'll start this way. Any policy whatsoever that puts the masses at a disadvantage should not be welcomed. Any policy that does not alleviate the pains or poverty of the masses should not be applauded. Never. Now, when CBN proposed the Naira redesign, that was around October 2022, Nigerians welcomed it. We were looking forward to seeing the redesign of the Naira, apparently something that happens like every 6 or 7 years. Unknown to us, what we were expecting was a different thing from what the CBN was proposing. It was a coloration of the Naira. They were changing the colors of the Naira. Now, you told us that by December 5th or 6th, the new Naira notes will be out in circulation, so we can go to the banks, drop the old Naira, the 200, 500, and the 1,000 to get the new ones. December came. Many of us had gone to banks. ATMs were not dispensing new notes. But because Nigerians could still spend the old notes, there was this calm, there was this peace. Until January, then again, eventually we got to February and there was this 7 days ultimatum. Now, let's not forget that while the conversation was ongoing from December, the House of Reps reached out to the CBN governor to ask for an extension till June 2023, that this change of Naira, the collation, the swap, would not happen, it would not be effective within that time frame. The Speaker, House of Rep, summoned the CBN governor, not once, not twice, and eventually threatened an arrest on him. And still, I think it was the second time that the arrest was threatened that he decided to appear before the House. Now we are here, we are stuck. The common man on the streets cannot feed. People are getting to the banks and they're getting 1,200 naira on the counters. The ATMs are not dispensing. The pain is on the average Nigerian, the masses. This is not affecting the governors, it's not affecting the senators, it's not affecting whoever that is in power.
So the government keeps saying that, you know, there are certain reasons why this redesign was made.
Okay.
Insecurity, you know, inflation,
okay.
And all of those.
Okay, so let me get there. Now, they give us reasons for the Naira redesigns. Insecurity, that sounded very good. Okay, let's say that's so on the box we'll tick that. Inflation, but what do we have presently? In a country where what we do mostly is Nigeria is a cash-based society. As much as we're introducing the cashless model, which is good and acceptable, but the cash-based part of it, because we have traders in this country. Now, when there's no trade, when there's no buying and selling, when nothing is working, how does the economy grow? We're told that this would strengthen the Naira. But right now, the Naira redesign is not strengthening the Naira. Okay, maybe because we are now buying the Naira with Naira anyway. When you want to get 30,000 from the POS and you have to pay 20,000, you are forfeiting 10,000 or you are forfeiting 7,000 Naira. Now, you're talking about vote buying too, which was one of the reasons why the redesign was done. Yeah. Now, let's take a critical look at that. So it simply means that the electorate that have been voting over the years have been voting because there is an incentive attached to it, which is money. That's what you're saying. Okay, so you're saying that if we don't bring out money, they will not vote. Take away the money. Let the people who are concerned about the prosperous Nigeria, the Nigeria that they want, the working system that they desire, let them come out to vote. I don't think it's a must for us to have 150 million voters, as much as we have about 220 million Nigerians. It's not a must that we have 150 million voters. If the numbers that would determine the next president of Nigeria will be 80 million, let's have it. If you're taking money away, allow people vote their will and their conscience. What tells you that the man that is collecting the money will vote whoever you think you are putting this policy for?
Oh, yeah, you mean the man that would give out the money?
No, what tells you that the electorate, the man on the street that will collect money from any candidate is actually will eventually vote for that candidate
that he collected money
from. You understand? So if you're taking money away because you want to stop vote buying.
Don't forget, that's just one of the reasons.
Yes, so that's why I explained from, insecurity, that's laudable.
Yeah.
But if you talk inflation, what do we have currently? Our economy is even grounded right now. We can't buy, we can't sell. People are now doing trade by barter. We're back to 1930s or probably 18s.
People are transferring as well. I mean, I have a personal story of someone who transferred 300 naira to a bus conductor. So people are saying that, you know, the cashless economy, this is perhaps...
No, the cashless economy is good,
would
but allow people have access, allow those who cannot do the online banking, allow them have access to their funds. How does the woman who sells pepe, who sells plantain, who sells the pomo in the markets, many of them don't have the apps on their phones. The kind of mobile phones they use is even all those 5,000, 10,000 naira phones.
Yeah, but isn't that what the dialing codes are for? The stars?
How many of them are educated enough to know all of that? Here around you, Kara Market, most of the sellers of cows and goats here do not even collect transfers right now. They want their cash and nothing more. So now we are here and we are stuck. How do we move from here? But I strongly believe that in another couple of days, probably few hours or few days to the election, maybe this might get better, or eventually after the election. We're not against the cashless policy, no. But for people who cannot live on the technology side of things, it's not something that you force on them overnight. Let's not even forget that we were already growing in the cashless mode already. Nigerians don't keep money at home. But when this was done, now, even to transfer, there was, I don't want to mention bank names, but we're seeing people that are educated that could tweet, reporting, complaining about several apps that were not working. For about 2 weeks, I on a personal could not do transfer for about 2 weeks. I had maybe about 10,000 or 20,000 naira new note that I was managing all through that period. So for every other thing that I could get indoors, I would manage. Now, you could use POS to buy fuel. It would go through, but you're trying to make a transfer and it's not going through. So if you're saying that... so
why wouldn't people just resort to using the POS? Now, POS option?
Now, who pays for the charges? The federal government pays or CBN? When you want to get 10,000 naira, how much did you get from POS?
Like you said, you bought fuel using POS.
POS. So if you can buy fuel using POS, how about the Nigerians who don't have cars? Who need to go from Ogba to Mile 12 and still come back? How many of them can do, even the ones that can do transfer, how many conductors are patient enough to do those things? In other countries of the world... What
is the way forward?
The way forward is allow us spend the old and new naira while you're taking back the old notes. Give us a time frame that is elastic enough, maybe about some 6 months or 1 year. What you need to do, the only thing that the CBN needs to do is when they bring money, the old notes, into the bank, it should not go out again like we've seen in other countries.
Yeah. So you know some of the what's it called now, the debates that have been going on is that the president was magnanimous enough to even ask that the 200 naira should also remain in circulation as well. So isn't that a step in the right direction?
They hail the president for being magnanimous for allowing the 200 naira thing.
It co-circulates with the others.
If the 200 naira
the volume was pretty much one of the concerns. So if you take out the 500 naira and the 1,000 naira.
You know where our problem started from? Now, according to the CBN, the cash in this country is about 3 to 6 trillion naira. You were able to absorb the cash. Now, for you to now release the new notes, you printed about 300 billion naira. How does it meet up? So about 10% for what you have withdrawn. Now, the people who do businesses even in some large volumes, the women who sells lace materials, who sell fabrics in Okeari, not all of them would wait for the transfers. When you go to them, sometimes they need their cash. Some of them have their machines there. That's why banks, the big banks, even the microfinance banks, have branches around Balogun in Dumota. They go there to take the money from them. There are markets all over the world where you have people who trade in cash. As much as you have the cashless policy. So if you're saying, if the president would say, allow 200 naira to coexist with the old notes for now till April 10, then why don't you allow the 500 and the 1,000s too?
Well, I guess that question is what would direct.
Exactly. So why not? What's the segregation for? Because if you're making a policy that does not affect the elite, that falls back on the masses suffers. About 13 people have been killed during this period, during the protest and shooting and whatever. None of them is an elite. None of them is a son or a daughter of an elite. Practically the 13 have been people who are presumed nameless, whose families did not even come out. They've just mourned them in silence and they moved on like that. So you don't come up with a policy that will affect the like I said earlier, any policy that does not alleviate the pain or poverty of the common man, any policy that puts the common man, the masses, at a disadvantage, it shouldn't be a welcomed policy. It shouldn't.
So let's take a look at how it happens, in other countries. What's the precedent? How do they do theirs? So
normally you're supposed to, so an announcement has been made. Yeah. We're supposed to take all the old currency, take it back to the bank. Some people can still trade with it. As long as you're taking it to the bank, let the bank withdraw it. And when the bank withdraws it, they are not releasing the old notes into circulation again. The UK, for example, the pounds that had Queen Elizabeth, people can still spend it right now. As much as you know the new currency that has King Charles. But they will keep withdrawing the old notes. It's not coming back into circulation. That's what CBN should have done. Why is it that, aside even the withdrawal, why is it that we don't have the new notes at the banks and at the ATMs? Why are banks paying 2,000 naira to individuals? Will the bank determine how much people should spend? 2,000, 5,000? How do students go to school? How do they feed? How will families feed? These are things that goes beyond the electioneering process. Think about the survival of your citizens before you think of whatever that is political about this. Don't attach sentiment, political sentiment to this. Think of the welfare and well-being of the masses.
Well, it's not thoroughly or purely political, as the reasons have been given. Others have followed, even though you seem not to believe that, the other, reasons for the redesign, are kind of valid, even though you agree that one is valid.
One is valid. One is valid, and the other one that was supposed to be valid is the part of inflation, because we were told that, so the naira will have its value, they'll bring back all the naira that has been kept somewhere and all of this and all of that. But what do we have now? We're buying naira with naira. It's never been heard of. We're buying naira with naira. You now see Nigerians go out to say, so now it's no more do you have money, it is do you have naira.
Two different things.
Even churches are not collecting the old notes.
Let me hold you there for a bit. We'll take a quick break. And of course, when we come back, we'll take a different perspective, to all of this. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. We still have with us our panelists right here in the Lagos studio, as well as Ayotunji Lubumi, who is just joining us via Zoom. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Very much. Thank you, Matthias.
Indeed. So quite a lot of water has gone under the bridge since, the conversation started. But let's just quickly get your thoughts on this. In terms of the reasons given by the federal government and the CBN as to why the Naira notes was redesigned, how viable would you say all of those reasons are playing out currently?
First of all, right, this is not the first time we'll be having a Naira redesign policy in Nigeria. Of course, you know that. And secondly, the president and, of course, acting through the CBN governor has the right to proclaim the redesign of a new Naira. It's enshrined in Section 2023 of the CBN Act in 2027. Now, there's something called the Murphy's Law in policy. And it says that whatever can go wrong in a policy would definitely go wrong. Now, before you design a policy and you implement it or execute same, you have to understand that or put into cognizance the fact that some things can definitely go wrong. And I assume that these things will go wrong. I sincerely feel that this policy was hastily put together to target some set of humans, and now it's targeting all Nigerians. There are four reasons, albeit from good intentions. They were postulated by the CBN governor. He said it's to reduce fraud, to combat insecurity, to lower inflation, and to control the amount of money in circulation. However, good intentions do not amount to effective policy executions. There are massive execution flaws in this policy, and policies are not meant to be casted on stone. If it's not working, you revise, you redesign, you restructure, or you recall it. The truth remains that today, the scarcity of the Naira or the policy redesign as it is currently is doing everything it's meant not to do. And if that is the case, it's only normal and humane for the government to redesign this particular policy that is causing, it's now causing insecurity. Inflation is at an all-time high. I don't see results. Personally, I have families in the grassroots that are not getting results. So I personally think this should be recalled because good intentions do not amount to effective policy execution. Also, the very idea that I want to address this quickly, that the political class have turned the court into a theater of the absurd because they want to suddenly defend the rights of Nigeria. It's drama in its entirety because we've seen other things happen in this country and they are not united in their greed. But now, because these would probably, quote and unquote, affect their chances in the election, not because they would have money, because of course they have money, most of them own banks, most of them actually have very big stakes in banks. So I do not think this policy will affect them, but because they feel it will affect their chances in the election, because Nigerians are angry, of course, they have to head to the courts. I do not think they are defending Nigerians. I do not think they have Nigerians as at heart. I think they are defending their own interests, because that's what binds all of them. However, on this policy, I think it is failing and it needs to be recalled. I was talking to a presidential candidate last week at the policy roundtable, and he said he only had 5,000 naira. What chance on him right now, as we're speaking, what chance do you leave for candidates like that? You know, what chance do you leave for my grandma in my village in Osun State that has nothing that you send 5,000 naira to, and she's been charged 500 naira to get that money? I think the CBN governor needs to understand that good intentions do not amount to effective policy implementations. And as it is now, I think it should be recalled.
Well, we have to wait and see how that would play out, perhaps, as time goes on. But I have to say thank you for joining us on the program today and sharing your thoughts. Ayabami, I would have to say thank you as well to you for joining us. I would have loved you to say one or two things, but I mean, time is not on our side at the moment. So, again, it's a pleasure to always have you and sharing your thoughts with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, Nigerians welcomed the arrival of SpaceX, an internet service provider owned by multi-billionaire Elon Musk, as it will bring competition to this space. However, paying for the service became an issue which seems to have been resolved, but how was that resolved? We're now joined by Favor Ori. He is the CEO at Payday, and it's a pleasure to have you join us, on the show today. Favor, I mean, after everything, after all the excitement, we're currently having this crunch, Naira and even dollar crunch. But it seems SpaceX has found a solution as to, how their service can be acquired, how Nigerians can enjoy that service. How would you say that bridge, was built?
Hi, thanks for bringing me back to the show again. So pretty much we built a global platform to enable Africans, no matter where they are, access global banking. So from USD accounts to pounds accounts to euro accounts to USD cards, MasterCards and Visa cards. So what we've done so far is pretty much build a company that can let you spend your local currency or your global currencies whenever you need to do that. So that's how we basically bridge that gap.
Yeah, so one would think that, you are pretty much a small player in the industry, So how were you able to pull that off?
I mean, I know we're just like 20 months old, but I feel like it's mostly about the impact of what we're building, not the age of the company or how much we've raised. Pretty much what we've done for our customers, helping them solve very simple pain points, like paying for services, like competing globally. So we're trying to prevent this thing where a global service launches, and mostly because you live in Nigeria or Africa, you can't access it. So we want to compete globally with our peers. Africa has like the largest number of young people. So I feel like we want to be able to compete globally and we want to be able to provide our infra. I feel like I'm a big fan of SDG number 8 and 9. So this can work for all, and also like innovation, pretty much innovation and infra. So we're basically helping or building this infra to enable people, Africans, no matter where they are, compete globally as well with their peers.
Yeah, so what's the competitive edge? I mean, it's good that you've kind of broken down, what you're doing, but what people will be thinking that, if you're making this move, what's the deal? What's in it for you, pretty much, especially in terms of revenue generation, because that's what, investors will be looking at.
I mean, we've been running for like 20 months. We've been profitable for a while, building, growing customer base, etc. We're doing well. We're doing good. So yeah, we just focus on our customers right now, building what they need. And yeah, I feel like everything else comes second.
Well, talking about things that would come second, this would boost the confidence of investors in Nigerian tech ecosystem. But to what extent do you think this would drive, that boost in confidence? Especially for other aspiring entrepreneurs like you.
So I feel like we want to paint a picture to just so that that everything is possible. Like it doesn't matter where you start from or how small you are. Just solve a problem. Focus on this thing. Focus on solving the problem for your customers. Talk to them. Get feedback. Innovate. Revamp. We launched like 3, 4, 5 times, right? At Payday. So we keep launching. We've done version 1.0 in 2021, version 2.0 in 2022. Payday 3.0, 2023. We'll keep doing 4.0, 5.0 up to 10 until we basically get to where we are like, okay, we're good. Like we Payday, you can basically bank globally. That's what our focus is.
Yeah. So should we be expecting another unicorn? Just as we went.
Like I said, our users, right? We keep expanding to Ghana, Kenya, United Kingdom, etc. Everything else comes second. But we're focused on our customers, focused on growing the user base, usage of the product, etc.
Well, let's hope that happens really soonest, because it's good that we have unicorns in the country. But like they always say, the more the merrier. So hopefully we look forward to having you guys as a unicorn as well, which would add to the tech ecosystem and also boost confidence. But I have to say thank you to you for joining us on the show today, Favor Ori, CEO at Payday.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Of course, have a good one as well. Well, that's where we'll wrap it up on the show today. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Victor Matthias. See you again.